Lieutenant Mira Chen leaned forward in her zero-gravity workstation, fingers dancing across the holo interface, as she monitored the steady hum of Luna Station's Deep Space Observatory. Outside the reinforced viewport, Earth's pale blue marble hung suspended in black velvet, a distant reminder of home. Though the station orbited the moon, its panoramic dish antennas reached farther than any human outpost had ever ventured, scanning the Perseus arm for radio bursts, neutrino flashes, and the faintest flickers of exotic particles. To most, it was routine. To Mira, it was everything. The chronometer on the wall blinked 3:47. She'd already been on duty for 9 hours, her eyelids growing heavy under the unrelenting glow of the displays. Data streamed in from hundreds of frequency bands, but Mira's practiced eye could spot an anomaly in an instant. Tonight, something was different. A series of tightly clustered pulses rippled across the spectrum at precisely 1420.405 MHz. The hydrogen line. Normally, that band was reserved for the cosmic background hiss of interstellar gas, but these pulses bore a signature of intelligent modulation. Mira's pulse quickened as she isolated the signal and ran it through the stations. Decryption routines, odd framing, she muttered. Repetitive, yet not random. This is deliberate. Her voice crackled over the intercom. Commander Varga, I've got something unusual on the hydrogen line. You might want to see this. Moments later, Commander Alejandro Vargas strode in, his dark uniform decorated with silver bars indicating his rank in the United Earth Directorate's Scientific Command. He was lean, with a shock of prematurely white hair at his temples, a mark, some said, of too many late nights spent analyzing cosmic anomalies much like this one. Read it off, he said. His tone calm but taut. Mira tapped the screen, and the rows of binaries scrolled by. Asterisk. Mira inhaled sharply. It's coming from deep within the Perseus arm. Analysis of Doppler shift places it at 15 light-years from here, but triangulation suggests a more precise source. The planet Tarsia 4. His gaze flicked to the star map. Tarsia 4, rim world that had once been a glittering outpost of alien civilization. The Tarsari, renowned for their bioengineered translators and peaceful philosophy, had vanished 18 months ago. Scouts sent to chart their cities reported incursions by a raiding force of unknown origin, sleek, black warships that struck with surgical precision. Then the planets went dark. No probes returned. No signals answered. Every sign suggests the Tarsari were wiped out, Alejandro said softly. If this is them, if even a handful survived. He let the thought trail off. News of the discovery rippled through Luna Station like an electrical storm. Technicians abandoned their coffee mugs, crowding around holoscreens. Scholars whispered of the Drake equation suddenly coming alive. Military officers bristled at the thought of another hostile fleet in near-human space. At center stage, Mira replayed the distress pattern, variation by variation, feeding it through the station's most advanced decoders. Within 30 minutes, the hydrogen line beacon had been translated into a rudimentary proto-language. Basic grammar emerged, a first-person plural subject, imperative verbs, phrases indicating pursuit, destruction, and entreaty. The message repeated every 90 seconds, fading into static before restarting like a digital scream echoing across the void. Dr. Sohail Patel, the lead xenolinguist on station, peered through augmented reality lenses at the scrolling translation. Remarkable, he murmured. The structure is unlike any known syntax. It's almost synthetic. They may have designed it specifically to be easily decoded by any civilization capable of radio astronomy, and to be heard at interstellar distances, Mira added. We're picking it up with only minor signal degradation. Alejandro straightened. We inform Earth Command at once. Prepare a dispatch to United Earth Directorate with full decryption, power readings, and triangulation coordinates. We need to know, is this genuine or a trap? United Earth Directorate Headquarters. Terra Prime. By the time the data reached Earth's seat of power, analysts in New Beijing, Sao Paulo, and Nairobi were already running parallel decryption pipelines. The United Earth Security Council convened a midnight emergency session. Holographic projections filled the dome, rotating 3D models of the signal's origin. Spectrographic analysis and historical logs of the Tarsari disappearance. Industrial. Magnet-turned-politician Chancellor Mirek Orlov tapped his slender fingers on the polished table. We cannot send a military response without confirming the signal's authenticity. This could be a cunning ruse by the Vihrax. The Vihrax, a nomadic warrior species that had terrorized fringe systems for centuries, were infamous for ambush tactics. Their ships, coated in dark adaptive armor, could evade most sensors. Some experts believed they could have captured a Tarsari transmitter and were using it to lure reinforcements into a trap. I agree caution is warranted, said Admiral Rina Patel, head of Earth's Space Command. But if this is a genuine distress call from survivors, waiting could condemn the last of the Tarsari to extinction and forfeit an opportunity to forge an alliance. Dr. Lena Moreau, chief xenobiologist, interjected. We learned from the Tarsari archives that they valued cooperation above all else. If even a few remain, they could teach us new forms of biotechnology. Humanity cannot afford to ignore a plea for aid. 24 hours later, the Council issued Green Directive 7, dispatch a specialized analysis probe, codenamed Aegis 1, to Tarsia 4, simultaneously. Designate Earth's newly christened war fleet 20 dreadnoughts, 40 cruisers, and 6 Iron Wolves assault carriers as a rapid response force on tactical standby, ready to warp to Tarsian space if the probe confirmed the distress call's authenticity. Luna Station, Launch Bay Alpha in the cavernous hangar. Technicians completed final checks on the Aegis 1 probe. Its missile-shaped hull gleamed under the bay's floodlights, cloaked in a reactive camouflage designed to minimize its sensor signature. Mounted along its flanks were multispectral scanners, quantum tunnel neutrino detectors, and a synthetic intelligence core capable of immediate, autonomous translation of alien languages. Mira watched as the launch crew sealed the toroidal drive module, even with trans-warp capability. The probe's flight would take 48 hours to reach Tarsia 4 on a direct vector. Every second counted. Lieutenant Navarro, head of operations, adjusted his cap. Signal strength is holding at minus 130 to dBm. We're confident the beacon source lies within a 2-kilometer radius of where we've triangulated. Alejandro approached Mira. Lieutenant, I want continuous updates on signal integrity. And if we lose the beacon before Aegis 1 arrives, be prepared to authorize a manual long-range scan. She nodded. Understood, sir. With the final countdown on the main holoscreen, the launch bay's rumble crescendoed. The probe rose on a cushion of ionized plasma, skewing upward through the bay's open skylight. In seconds, it vanished into the star-spangled void, guided by Luna Station's deep space transwarp gate. Mira exhaled, tension draining from her shoulders. Round her, the crew erupted in muted cheers, aware that their moment of triumph was only the beginning of a much larger gamble. As dawn broke over Terra Prime, the glass spire of United Earth Directorate headquarters gleamed like a beacon of resolve. Inside the grand briefing chamber, its walls flickering with holo-projections of star maps and schematics, Admiral Rina Patel stood at the central dais. Before her sat Chancellor Mirek Orlov, General Seamus O'Malley, and a select cadre of military and scientific advisors. All faces were grave, shadows of apprehension dancing beneath the high vaults. Status report, Admiral Patel began, her voice calm but insistent. Lieutenant Commander Hiro Tanaka tapped the console at her side. Instantly, the chamber filled with 3-dimensional overlays. Tarsia's orbit, the projected flight path of Aegis 1, and in the background a wireframe of Earth's war fleet looming in high orbit. Aegis 1 confirmed the distress signal. Tanaka reported, transmissions show automated distress beacons embedded in Tarsari ruins. Power signatures consistent with glucose plasma generators. No signs of life yet, but environmental sensors indicate artificial shelters still intact. Beneath the surface, a murmur rippled through the council. Chancellor Orlov's brow furrowed. So the Tarsari sent this call before they fell potentially weeks ago. We have a window of opportunity. But how large? General O'Malley leaned forward, fingers steepled. With your permission, Admiral, I propose full mobilization. The war fleet stands ready to jump at a moment's notice. We can arrive in Tarsian space within 12 hours. Very well, Patel conceded. Issue Order Green Alpha, all squadrons to battle readiness. Alert the 4th Assault Fleet, and send word to the Solar Civilian Authority open civilian evacuation corridors and potential combat zones, just in case. The gathering storm at Hangar Bay Delta. The USS Valhalla flagship of the 3rd Squadron towered like a steel leviathan. Beneath the domed enclosure, crew members hustled along the catwalks, their exosuits gleaming under the floodlights as they secured reactive armor panels overhead. T-shirt-clad dockworkers swung power cables into place, while engineers ran final diagnostics on the ship's cold fusion reactors. Captain Eleanor Ruiz strode onto the hangar floor, her cerulean uniform crisp. She paused to check her compad. Incoming. Admiral Patel gives all commanders priority. Code Red. Fleet mobilization in T-90 minutes. Elena. Lieutenant Dryas Cowrie greeted her, voice tinged with excitement and nerves. The boys downstairs are already tuning the transwarp coils. We'll hit full pre-jump power 15 minutes early if logistics approve. Ruiz allowed herself a small smile. Just get me a full power report on my desk by T-70. I want shields, weapons arrays, thrust vectoring, everything running at optimal calibration, and have the Marine battalions on standby. We might need them as boarding parties if those raiders captured any survivors. Darius nodded, already slipping back into the throng of technicians. Public eyes and private fears down in New Beijing. A live holo broadcast transmitted images of the war fleet's mobilization. 2 millions across Earth. News anchors in Sao Paulo spoke urgently of the possibility of first contact, while commentators in Nairobi debated the ethics of using a war fleet for a rescue mission. Social media feeds exploded with hastily rendered fan art depicting human dreadnoughts. Entwined in cosmic drama. Dr. Lena Moreau, Earth's chief xenobiologist, watched the feed from her office. She rubbed her temples. We may need to prepare a backup plan, she mused to her assistant. If the Tarsari survivors are hostile, we can't just open negotiations. Her assistant, an intern named Javi, stifled a gasp. But Lena, wouldn't that betray the very purpose of their call? Moreau paused, eyes distant. Humanity has never faced an alien species in armed conflict. We must be ready for any eventuality. Engines of war, hearts of hope high above Earth, in the void beyond the ionosphere. The war fleet shimmered with latent power. Battleships loomed like mountain ranges. Cruiser wings fanned out in protective arcs, and assault carriers hovered at the fleet's flanks. In the carters of the USS Pegasus, General O'Malley strode amid airborne drills. Attended by his staff, General, called Colonel Almarandour, Chief of Fleet Operations. Scouts report minor plasma discharges near Tarsia's upper atmosphere consistent with the Raiders' signature. They're still in system. O'Malley's eyes hardened. They're hunting for us, he said, voice low, which means they expect us to answer that call. Prepare to engage as we exit transwarp, and have boarding teams ready. We need intel on their tactics. A fleeting moment of comeback aboard Luna Station. Mira Chen watched the flicker of the fleet's departure on her console. Her station, once the vanguard of human exploration, now felt like the launchpad for war. She exhaled slowly, recalling the hopeful wonder that first gripped her when she identified the signal. Lieutenant Navarro joined her at the console. You did good, he offered quietly. Without you, none of this would be happening. Mira managed a wan smile. We still don't know what we're sailing into. The Vraks aren't known for mercy. Navarro placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You gave them a chance, isn't that worth something? She nodded, eyes returning to the projection of Tarsia 4, half swallowed by storm clouds and smoke. Plumes, yes, that is, on the brink of Warnandy. Minutes later, the war fleet's transwarp gates activated in synchronized pulses, each anchor beacon humming with quantum resonance. In the blue-green haze of Earth's upper atmosphere, the vessels slipped into the higher dimensional currents that would carry them across 15 light-years of interstellar void. On the command decks, reactors flared, shields coalesced, and weapon arrays hummed to life. Red warning lights blinked, berating those who dared glance away from their stations. Captain Ruiz gripped her chair as G-forces pressed her back against the leather headrest. Prepare for transit, she ordered. Voice steady. And engage. A brilliance of prismatic light enveloped the fleet, and in an instant, they were gone. As Earth faded behind them, a singular truth settled over every officer and crewman. They were no longer guardians of a solitary planet, but the spearhead of humanity's first interstellar alliance. The stakes had never been higher, the unknown never darker. Yet, driven by duty and hope, they raced toward the distant beacon, determined to answer the call that could change the fate of two civilizations and perhaps the entire galaxy. The void cracked open in prismatic light as Earth's war fleet exited transwarp above Tarsia 4. In an instant, the fleet's dreadnoughts, cruisers, and assault carriers coalesced from nothing into the battered skies of the rim world. Below, the planet was a tempest of ash and flame, once verdant continents reduced to glowing embers, storm systems roiling with acid clouds, and the skeletal remains of Tarsari cities rising like gravestones. Lieutenant Navarro's voice crackled over the fleet comms. All squadrons, sensors report multiple hostiles in high-orbit 10 frigate class. 30 fast-attack skimmers, signature matches VHRAX plasma accelerant rays. They're waiting for us. Double quotes. Admiral Rina Patel's calm authority cut through the tension. Maintain standard formation. Cruisers Alpha and Beta draw their fire. Assault carriers launch the Wolves. Dreadnoughts power up main batteries. Let's show these raiders what Earth's finest can do. The black swarm plasma bolts lance through the smoggy atmosphere, illuminating the VHRAX ship's obsidian. Hulls in sickly green bursts, their attack skimmers, sleek, shark fin silhouettes twisted among human cruisers, firing from unexpected angles. Shield generators on the USS Vanguard flared and dimmed with each hit. Captain Helena Ortiz of the Vanguard barked orders. Evasive maneuvers, Vector 380. Fire phosphor impulse cannons in spread formation suppressed the skimmers at point blank. Below deck, Chief Engineer Malik Zhao fought the thermostatic regulators as overheating piping hissed. Power rerouting to aft shields. Main battery cooling cycle at 87%. Outside, the cruiser's broadside cannons found their marks, ripping through to skimmers in silent implosions. Yet for every VHRAX ship destroyed, 3 more darted into the fray. Their tactics were relentless, a swarm meant to overwhelm. Breaking the lineage across the fleet, the USS Valhalla held the center of the formation. Captain Elena Ruiz watched the tactical display's crimson arcs of incoming fire. Lieutenant Dryas Cowrie keyed his console. Our shields are oscillating between frequencies 93 and 95%, enough to handle standard plasma bursts. But their pulse modulation is destabilizing the harmonics. We need a new frequency matrix. Ruiz nodded. Do it, and prep the railed-in batteries. I want kinetic strikes where shields are weakest. Darius's fingers flew. Matrix realigned. Now, firing railguns. Massive projectiles armed with inertial tip charges tore through the black smoke. A VHRAX frigate's starboard flank ruptured in a fiery blossom, sending debris tumbling into the clouds. But as one ship fell to replace it, the VHRAX commanders had clearly studied human tactics and adapted on the fly. The assault wolves from the flanks. The Iron Wolves assault carriers roared to life. Hangar bays opened, disgorging waves of gunboats and drop shuttles. Marines in power armor manned the gunboat turrets, their respirator huffs visible in the cold vacuum. Lieutenant Commander Eva Sanchez, leading Wolf Flight Bravo, herded her squadron toward a glowing cluster of VHRAX frigates. Stick to my tail, she ordered. Lock on to my target commander's ship at Grid Alpha 2. We cripple their leadership node. Below, Sergeant Malik Kwan's marine gunboat strafed the frigate's dorsal array. Magnetic grapplers latched onto hostile plating as Sanchez's fighter tore off the support beams with concentrated volleys. Once the array exploded, the frigate lost control thrusters and spiraled into the planet's upper atmosphere. Cheering crackled in Sanchez's comm link, but the reprieve was short-lived. The VHRAX skimmers swooped low, plasma arcs snaking toward Sanchez's wing. Point defense engaged, Sanchez reported, but we're losing formation to wounded. Borders into darkness as the orbital battle raged. Captain Ruiz made her decision. Valhalla to all boarding parties. Target the crippled frigate at Grid Bravo 1. Marine Battalions Echo 7 and 8, you're up. Portable charge pads only no. Spectron bombs, we need survivors. Or at least someone to question. Below deck, Marine Captain Aisha Rahman checked her unit's equipment. Grav ropes, mag boots, breather packs. Her second, Lieutenant Jonas Park, eyed the charge pads. We do this clean, Captain. Tarsari Tech left their virus scrubbers intact. We don't want to raise the temperature inside. Rahman slapped Park's shoulder. Just get us in. Wheel. Secure the bridge, lock down life support, and see if anyone's still alive. Moments later, the elevator plummeted through the decks until the boarding bays opened directly onto the fractured hull of the enemy frigate. The night vision scopes revealed walls streaked with luminescent bioveins and alien organic substrate. Grafted into the ship's interior, a thin mist hung in the corridors, carrying the faint tang of ozone and something metallic. On my mark, Rahman whispered, 2 teams, point secures the bridge. Rear covers the engineering section. Move. Their mag boots clicked against the living corridors as they advanced. The ship's power flickered, casting warped shadows. At every junction, Rahman's team left neutralizing charges to seal off potential reinforcements. Confrontation in the Coral Lieutenant Park's rear team reached the engineering node first. The fusion generator hummed with unstable energy. A single, wrong move could detonate the core. Park called through comms. Generator looks intact, but there are biomatters fused into the conduits. Some Tarsari did this. We might still get them online. Meanwhile, Rahman's point team pressed toward the bridge. At the final corridor, a reinforced door barred the way, its control panel sparking with purple arcs. Rahman tapped her charge pad to one side, then dashed back. The panel collapsed inwards, revealing a semicircular bridge. Inside, in the center, knelt a lone figure. His battle suit was sleek and form-fitting, its lines flowing like liquid metal. Bioluminescent veins pulsed along the armor's surface. His helmet's visor was down, hiding his face. At his feet lay broken consoles and spilled viscous fluid. Don't move. Rahman's rifle leveled at the figure. Identify yourself. The figure remained still. Then he raised one hand, palm outward. A soft female voice, rich, musical, laced with fatigue and relief, filled the corridor. I am Kali. The suit's speakers whispered, we are survivors of the Tarsari. Thank you for coming. Rahman exchanged a stunned glance. With her team, Nkali's posture was not that of a raider, but a supplicant. The damage aboard the ship suggested a desperate last stand, not a bloodbath. Rahman slowly lowered her rifle. Explain, she demanded. Why fight us? Nkali rose, helmet folding open to reveal his no. Her features, elongated cheekbones, opalescent skin, and eyes the color of crushed gemstones. The Vihrax slaughtered our people, she said, voice breaking. This ship was built for evacuation, but it failed. I carried our last messages into space, hoping for rescue. And you answered. A fragile silence across the boarding comms. Lieutenant Park reported, engineering secured. Marine Platoon 8 bringing up. Life support backup. We'll stabilize the reactor in 5 minutes. Back on the bridge. Rahman holstered her rifle. The fleet is winning. Raiders are withdrawing. Looks like we stopped their node. Nkali closed her eyes. They feared our alliance with you. Without a home world, I have nowhere left to hide. Rahman hesitated, then offered her glove. Captain Aisha Rahman, United Earth Marines, you're safe now. We'll get you off this ship. A sudden tremor shook the hull. From the viewport, both women saw the last Vihrax frigate pivoting for a final strafing run. Plasma arcs lanced toward the ship's commander bay. Take cover, Rahman shouted, pulling Kali behind the console. The blast struck, shattering port panels and sending a shockwave through the corridor dot as sparks rained down. Kali wrapped an arm around Rahman. I owe you my life, she whispered. Rahman braced herself. Just get us both out of here. Exfiltration and aftermath marine teams converged at the rendezvous point. As the boarding lifeboat's magnetic clamps engaged, engineers in hazmat suits ushered Nkali aboard while Marines manned suppressing fire against sporadic plasma discharges. Captain Ruse's voice came over Raman's comlink. Boarding team. Status. Raman strapped Kali into the stretcher cradle. Target secured. Captain. Survivor is alive and coherent. We're ready to pull out. Valhalla out. Ruiz replied. Good work. Extraction inbound. Outside. The boarding lifeboat disengaged and rocketed away, streaking through the swirling clouds toward the assault carrier USS Wolfpack. As the frigate's power core wound down and life support systems shut, the vessel drifted its black hull a silent testament to the slaughter it once facilitated. Moments later, over the fleet comms, Admiral Patel announced enemy ships are in full retreat. Plasma signatures dropping off the sensors. All squadrons, stand down weapons and prepare to mark the wreckage for salvage. Across the bridges of Earth's warships, crews exhaled the breath they hadn't realized they'd been holding. Damage. Reports came in, cruisers and frigates rocked by heavy fire, but no catastrophic losses. The Vraks had learned to fear Earth's reach. The grand chamber aboard USS Valhalla thrummed with solemn expectation. Holographic banners of Earth and Tarsari fluttered side by side, casting prismatic reflections across the polished durasteel floor. Admiral Rina Patel rose from her seat at the head of the oval conference table, flanked by General Seamus O'Malley and Chancellor Mira Orlov's envoy. Opposite them stood Kali, her bioluminescent veins dimmed in respect, accompanied by the two surviving Tarsari elders, Elder Sarmel and Elder Vissa. Silence reigned as the last of the droning escort ships departed, marking the end of immediate hostilities outside the panoramic viewport. The blackened skies of Tarsia, the fourth still roiled ashes and storm clouds swirling in mournful eddies. Yet here, within this floating citadel of humanity's might, a profound hope ignited. Admiral Patel began, her voice steady. We come not as conquerors, but as allies. Earth heeded your call when all seemed lost. Now, we must bind our destinies together so that no civilization need ever stand alone. Against the darkness, Elder Sarmel's crystalline eyes glimmered. You answered our plea when the Vraks believed us extinguished. In our histories, only the phoenix serves as such a symbol of rebirth. We accept your hand. A low murmur of relief swept through the assembled delegates. General O'Malley nodded gravely. Then let this gathering mark the founding of the Solar Alliance. Our fleets will patrol jointly, our scientists share discoveries, and our peoples stand guard over each other's worlds. The oath of Unity Chancellor. Orlov stepped forward, unrolling an illuminated scroll that hovered between Earth's emblem and the Tarsari crest. In voices both translated and original tongues, the Earth envoy and Kali recited the oath of unity. We vow to safeguard life across the stars, to share knowledge without boundaries, to stand resolute against tyranny and fear, and to honor the spark of civilization wherever it burns. As the final vow echoed, a resonant chime echoed through the chamber. The holographic emblems entwined Earth's slate-blue orb encircled by the Tarsari broken ring, coalescing into a new symbol, two hands clasped in solidarity beneath a stylized star. Reclamation of Tarsi over the next lunar cycle. Earth's engineers and Tarsari bioarchitects worked side by side. At the height of the day, magma still oozed from ravaged rifts, yet in the cooling valleys, seed pods of hardy Terran flora took root in soil infused with Tarsari nutrient biogels. Patrol vessels oversaw no-fly zones to clear residual Vraks. Skimmers, salvage crews scavenged down frigates for parts, while medical teams screened Tarsari survivors for radiation exposure and genetic anomalies. Lieutenant Mira Chen, now assigned to the Solar Alliance Science Council, oversaw the reactivation of Tarsari ancient data archives, hidden beneath volcanic plains. The crystal vault chambers housed centuries of biochemical research knowledge that could revolutionize human medicine. As she guided a Tarsari data priest through Earth standard decryption protocols, Mira couldn't help but feel they were on the cusp of a golden age. Shadows of the Vraks, yet not all threats lay vanquished. In deep space listening posts, analysts intercepted fragmented hails in the guttural Vraks tongue. They spoke of the Great Hunt and the Broken Alliance, ominous phrases that hinted at wider Vraks fleets rallying on the fringes. General O'Malley convened an emergency briefing aboard USS Pegasus, where the tactical map glowed with dozens of unknown systems marked Viharax activity. "They will not forgive us for rescuing the Tarsari," he warned. "We must strike first, push them back before they can call their numbers home." Admiral Patel countered, "Diplomacy holds as much power as war. Our new alliance sends a message. Far more species will stand with us than against us. We'll bolster our presence in sensitive sectors, but avoid needless provocation." From the back of the room, Nkali spoke softly, "Let them come. We will be ready." Her words, though gentle, carried the steel of unbroken resolve. The first joint maneuverson, the vast choreography of space. The first Solar Alliance fleet exercises became legend. Earth cruisers and Tarsari bioships wove through simulated asteroid fields while gunboats and fighter wings darted in coordinated formations. Terran Marines practiced joint boarding drills, with Tarsari Guardians each learning the other's tactics, language, and even shared humor. Captain Eleanor Ruiz found herself commanding a mixed squadron, half-human pilots, half-Tarsari wingmates. "Vector Formation Delta," she called through the comm link. A Tarsari pilot, its voice melodic, responded, "Affirmative, Captain Ruiz." In that moment, the boundaries of species blurred, replaced by a unified purpose. Homeward Reflections' chapter drew to its close. The largest joint transport S Unity's flame prepared to depart Tarsia for. It carried hundreds of survivors, bound for the Tarsari refuge colony on Shoshana's Rest, as well as the first delegation of human engineers tasked with terraforming studies. On the bridge, Admiral Patel watched the ships lift off. Mira Chen stood beside her. "I never imagined I'd see Tarsian children laughing among Earth's greenhouses." Patel smiled. "We did more than answer a distress call. We changed the course of history." Below them, Nkali's figure moved among the boarding ramps, offering her bioluminescent hand to parting Earth crews. As they shook on pacts of friendship and pledges of cooperation, the manufactured steel of human starships and the living biostructures of Tarsari vessels rode the cosmic currents together toward distant suns.